I loved this. He decided that he would rather teach people how to meditate and make them happy instead of teaching them math and making them miserable.
My maths class is a lot of fun as well. You are now in the top of the top of the top of the top, and so basically you are at the bottom.
I like that.
Most people at 2021, they feel they know everything. I was not like that. I knew everything,
Interesting.
On my 50th birthday, I remember being asked, how does it feel to be 50? And I said, it's exactly like being 18 minus the confusion. When you are 14 or 15, you want to be 18. When you are 30, you want to be 18. It's only when you are 18, you don't want to be 18.
I think people would like to know a little bit more of the Sudarshan Kriya from a man like you.
And so, yes, I would rather teach meditation and make people happy than...
If meditation becomes your greatest addiction, there can be no greater benediction.
Absolutely.
That most of the world, they want entertainment. Because entertainment makes you happy. But they want entertainment, Khurshed, because they've not tasted enlightenment.
We have got this super amazing, advanced, organic supercomputer in our heads, but it doesn't come with a manual. And so most people don't use it the way it's supposed to be used.
Absolutely.
And so that's how the second book came about. Life shouldn't be a pursuit of happiness. It should be an expression of happiness. So we just turned that and called it the Happiness Express. The cause of misery, as I have understood it, is looking for permanence in something that is impermanent.
And why? Don't you think that we are being bombarded by the mind with so many toxic thoughts?
Of course.
I tell people, move from a state of mind to a state of consciousness. To me, when you meditate, then you slow down the MTR, the mental thought rate, which can be 50 thoughts a minute. People are confused about the mind and thoughts. Have you ever pondered on this? How meditation and how Sudarshan Kriya gives happiness, then we will try to bring some synergy into the subject.
Okay. The connection between the body and the mind is the breath. So the breath has different rhythms which correspond to different emotions. So for example,
when we come out of this meditation, how do we maintain peace? Where there's the peace of mind, there can be no peace of mind.
One fallacy about meditation that a lot of people have, where they feel that meditation means there should be no thoughts. I don't agree with that. If anyway you are deciding to be happy because something happens, can't you simply decide to be happy, full stop?
You can, right?
So, happiness does not need a reason. Unhappiness needs a reason.
Okay. How do you spell happy?
Happy.
So I've cancelled that. For me, I say happy has 3 P's. It's HAPPY. So I think the first P of happiness is to enjoy pleasure. Second P of happiness is peace. But the third P of happiness, when we talk of enlightenment,
that's great.
AiR. Atman in Ravi.
Happiness ambassador,
a spiritual mentor,
transformational author,
and a philanthropist.
good afternoon, namaskar and welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here today. I'd like to formally introduce you. Friends, we are meeting today with a special guest, an IIT Bombay graduate who left his high-paying job to become a monk. And like me, he looks like a normal person, but yes, a monk is not from the outside, it's from the inside. Khurshed Batliwala, a wellness coach, a sleep expert, a meditation teacher, speaker, and an author of several books like The Happiness Express and Zen in 10. I hope I got it right. I must say it was not here, but he is part of the Art of Living group, and he's been with Gurudev for probably over 20 years.
Over 30 years.
30 years. Living in Bangalore for over 20 years. Khurshed holds an MSc in mathematics from IIT Bombay. He's a Parsi and fondly called Baba.
Correct.
But should I call you Baba or
You
Khurshed?
may call me Baba.
A nickname he inherited in those IIT days, more than 20 years ago. He decided, I love this, he decided that he would rather teach people how to meditate and make them happy instead of teaching them math and making them miserable. So that is something which I picked up. Welcome, Khurshed.
Thank
It's
you.
lovely meeting you and having you over today. And I admired these words. So I'm going to start with these words, right? So I'd rather teach people meditation and make them happy than I teach them mathematics as an IITian to make them miserable. Tell me more about that. I'd like to start with that since that's a key word of your life.
Well, my maths class is a lot of fun as well.
You still teach maths, is it?
I dabble in maths. I enjoy mathematics more as a hobby than anything else these days. But when I was still a student in IIT Bombay, there were a sequence of events that happened which kind of made me start questioning about life. Very good friend committed suicide. I didn't know the guy who died, but my friend was completely shattered. And he kept questioning, मैंने क्या कुछ किया, कुछ नहीं किया, could I have prevented it? Things like that. When you get into IIT, it's like a dream come true until you realize that you are now in the top of the top of the top of the top, and so basically you are at the bottom.
I like that.
And so I had flunked a few subjects in IIT. It was the first time in my life that I actually flunked. So there were many upheavals that were happening. And around that time, a very dear friend of mine had called me and said, you have to come and do this course. And I said, what course? He said, look, I don't have time to talk to you. I have to call many people. But it's something about breathing. So I remember saying to her on the phone, I said, but breathing is boring. Why do you want me to do a course on breathing? She said, look, and she was very fat. If you don't come, I will come home and sit on you. That was my introduction to the art of living.
Okay.
I said, okay, Meri Ma, I will come there. I will do the course. And when I went through the art of living course, I did not even know the name of the course when I went there.
You just went.
I just went. And it really changed so many things. Getting the first glimpse of meditation, getting exposed to the fourth state of consciousness, so to speak, and having your concept shattered. I was doing my master's in maths, so according to me, everything could be explained with an equation. Some things may not be explained, but that's because the equation has not been created yet. So most people at 2021, they feel they know everything. I was not like that. I knew everything,
I like that.
And when I did the Art of Living course and when I explored meditation, the Sudarshan Kriya, it really opened up so many different aspects of me. I was a complete introvert. I had 3 or 4 friends. And suddenly I had so many people, so many friends. And I kept thinking of that guy who had died, and I felt that maybe if people had this knowledge of spirituality, maybe they wouldn't take such a drastic step,
Okay.
And so I thought, this is something that should be taught definitely to younger people. I always used to say that, when you are 14 or 15, you want to be 18. When you are 30, you want to be 18. It's only when you are 18, you don't want to be 18.
Interesting.
On my 50th birthday, I remember being asked, how does it feel to be 50? And I said, it's exactly like being 18 minus the confusion. So I felt that this knowledge that Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankarji has given to us should be more widespread. And at that time in 1991-92, nobody had heard of the Art of Living or Gurudev.
Yeah.
And I was one of India's first teachers. I became a teacher of the Art of Living while I was still studying in IIT.
Okay.
And more than 1,000 students did the course through me over there. And it made a lot of difference to so many people. And so, yes, I would rather teach meditation and make people happy than...
So I'm going to come to that portion because I think people would like to know a little bit more of the Sudarshan Kriya from a man like you. Because I think there's a lot of confusion, right? I I myself know a little of it, but we will touch that because today our friends, our topic today is more on happiness because he's written some books on happiness. I have written some books on happiness, and so this is a happiness podcast. But when it comes to meditation, in one of my quotes, I say, if meditation becomes your greatest addiction, there can be no greater benediction.
Absolutely.
Because, if meditation should become an addiction, people have so many addictions, but unfortunately, and I like the fact that mathematics can make you a master, but meditation can give you cheerfulness and merriness. So instead of just being a master in this material world, all ends, but I think we can be merry and that real happiness, real cheerfulness. So when I wrote one of my books, before I'm going to ask you about your books, everybody, like you're an IIT guy, so everybody we were taught, you and me, that success is happiness. We all, our parents told us, class mein first aana, IIT banna, ye karna, wo kamana. But what my book's title is, success is not happiness. Happiness is success. Because you are trying to be successful because you want to be happy. But in reality, if you're happy, then you're already successful. I mean, I hope
Absolutely.
You don't have a doubt in that. So I would like to know more about your books, what have you written? Because it's nice to meet somebody who is an author on happiness based out of spirituality. Because people don't get it. People don't get the connection of spirituality and happiness. So that's what I want to hear from you, which I said about the meditation, about the course that you teach, especially what you teach. I tell people that most of the world, they want entertainment. Because entertainment makes you happy. But they want entertainment, Khurshed, because they have not tasted enlightenment. Because the moment you taste enlightenment, then the ecstasy of joy, the euphoria of bliss, the enthusiasm that you build, the cheerfulness. And like I told you, since I write in English and I sing in Hindi, I'm giving you over after this. But one of the songs I wrote, we'll add little Hindi to this for our friends to understand. I say, Khushi to har koi chahe magar maza jo hai khushi nahi. पल भर का सुख तो खुशी नहीं आनंदा है सुख और शांति. This is what you are teaching, and now interrupting you so much, I'm back to you. Tell us a little bit about your books, about the course that you teach, and how that course makes people happy. I'd like to explain to people with brass tacks. I want to get to the basics. Over to you.
So, our first book that we wrote was, it was actually, I was fed up with being asked, how did you get into IIT?
Okay.
And then once you got in, how did you get out? So parents and their children would ask me, give us your secrets of studying. So the first book we wrote was actually called Ready, Study, Go.
Ready, steady, go. Okay.
And that was all about Dinesh and my secrets of studying.
He was also IIT?
Yeah, he's also IIT.
Okay.
So...
and he also part of the ashram.
Yes, very much. So, so that book was all about how to use the brain in the way that it was supposed to be used. Like I would say that we have got this super amazing, advanced, organic supercomputer in our heads, but it doesn't come with a manual. And so most people don't use it the way it's supposed to be used. Absolutely. And they make studying and learning, which is one of the most amazing things that you can do, learn more and more about everything around you and inside you. They make it into a drudgery and a chore. And it's not that. It need not be like that.
Okay.
So that was our first book.
So what's the essence of that book? What is if you have to give the essence of it?
Using the brain the way it's supposed to be used.
How? In a very short...
There are quite a few things, but I would like to share one, which is that normally people think, and I used to be guilty of that you need to study for hours at a stretch. It's not the case. Your brain is built for maximum focus of half an hour to 40 minutes.
So capture in that time.
So more than that, if you are sitting, you are wasting your time.
Okay.
You're just looking at the screen, you're just looking at the book, thinking you are studying, but you're only thinking.
Very good.
Right?
Okay. But that was not on happiness, right? That book
that was not on happiness.
Okay.
No, that book became a runaway bestseller. I think sold some 50,000 copies or something like that. And it was the time when our Prime Minister had done that demonetization. Our book was launched like 3 days before the demonetization, and my publisher would say that it was because of your book that we could pay the salaries. So obviously they were after us to write another book. And I said, now what do I write about? And she told me, my editor, Debashri, her name was, she said, you guys are so happy all the time, write something on happiness. So that's how the second book came about.
Okay.
What are the things that we do, brass tacks, that keep us happy, that we called Happiness Express, which is a kind of a play on word, where there is a quote of Gurudev where he says, life shouldn't be a pursuit of happiness, it should be an expression of happiness. So we just turned that,
Very nice.
And called it the Happiness Express. And that book has basically 5 aspects that we talk about. One is sleep. Sleep is the foundation. You cannot sleep properly, you cannot do anything properly.
Correct.
The second is meditation, where we talk a little bit about, what are the best practices for meditation, what you can do, how I mean, you cannot really teach meditation through a book, but you can say how to sit comfortably, and what are the things that go into that, what is meditation. The third was about nutrition, food. You could, if you don't have good food, proper food, nice food, then वो बोलते हैं ना, जैसे अन्न वैसा मन. So your gut is going to take over and nothing works.
Agreed.
The fourth is exercise, that we were built for movement, and we have been sitting now. Most people sit 8 hours a day. So WHO actually had released a report saying that sitting is the new smoking, and you're causing as much harm to yourself by simply sitting the whole day, doing whatever you're doing, as much as you maybe smoking a pack of cigarettes. And the fifth was learning. Having a mindset that I want to learn. Many people, once they finish their education, they feel abhi ho gaya. Now I don't need to learn anything. And our brain is, it's made on a use it or lose it principle. So people don't use their brains, they lose their brains.
So this is the essence of your book.
So this is the essence of Happiness Express.
So when you talk to people, if you have to tell them the key to happiness, what would there be some key that you tell them, or you would say all these aspects are important, or there's a key?
I feel that all the aspects are important.
Okay.
Unless all of them fall into place to some degree or the other.
Yeah.
And they are like, you can say they're like the legs of a chair. You pull one, the whole thing comes.
Correct.
So if you are meditating properly, of course you will sleep well, of course you will eat healthy, of course you will exercise. It's like that.
So tell me, since we are having a discussion, I would like to, as I said, before we end, we'll spend a lot of time on the meditation aspect. But once we do that, then we will not continue. We'll end with that in detail. So let me ask you what people asked me. So I'm going to now become, it'll be probably something new for you. People asked me, why do we become miserable? So you agree we become miserable, right? So if I know people who would be an art of living teacher would say meditate and you will not be miserable. But what do you think is the cause of misery?
The cause of misery, as I have understood it, is looking for permanence in something that is impermanent.
And why?
I guess because deep down inside there is a belief that you are not going to die. Which is true. The soul is eternal. Right? It is true. There is no doubt about it. In fact, it's a very good belief to have.
Yeah. But that's not out of intelligence. That is more out of ignorance, right?
Exactly. So when you realize the body is going to drop at some point or the other, and therefore looking for permanence in something that is intrinsically impermanent is just foolishness. Like Gurudev said very nicely, he said, if you take a long distance flight, say you go to America and then you land in Frankfurt for your change, and then you say in Frankfurt airport, abhi to ghar mein idhar hi banaunga. It is like that, हम ये दुनिया में आए हैं, लैंड किया है और जाने वाले हैं.
Correct.
This is a transit lounge. You cannot make a home in the transit lounge.
So what is making us ignorant of the fact of life?
I guess for many people, it is because they don't have the time to think about it.
Don't you think that we are being bombarded by the mind with so many toxic thoughts?
Of course. But so many people, they're just trying to make ends meet. They're just trying to get through the day.
Why is that, Khurshed?
I
Actually,
think it's a lot to do with the choices they make.
do you think people have a problem in fulfilling the need, or do you think people are stuck in greed?
Both.
But is there a problem, you think, in basic need?
Basic needs, well, I will not say, like when you look at the lower classes of society, middle class upwards, it's not need.
Correct.
It's greed.
Yeah.
But below that, sometimes it's just a question of where will I get my next meal?
Yes.
But
somehow, Khurshed, those people who are in fact below, they have faith in God.
Correct.
They are not so unhappy. The guys who are unhappy
are the...
You agree? The middle class who have a no need problem, and the richest people in this world.
Yeah.
I find people coming to me, I'm asking you, they say fear, worry, stress, anxiety, regret, shame, guilt. I call these the 7 miseries. And they say, my mind. Why I'm telling you is because I know that when you meditate, then there is no mind. Because the toxic thoughts of the mind, I want to hear this. I'm not a meditation expert still. I've just started doing guided meditation. But I know that when you still the mind, then the stillness kills all the illness. You agree that in meditation there is no mental illness. It is only because these toxic thoughts that are coming. So I just gave you this coin. I hope I have another one of them. So this is what I tell people. I tell people, move from a state of mind to a state of consciousness. And I want to hear this at the end from you. To me, when you meditate, then you slow down the MTR, the mental thought rate, which can be 50 thoughts a minute. And people are confused about the mind and thoughts. Have you ever pondered on this? What's the difference between mind and thoughts?
Yes.
How would you differentiate?
So I would say that the mind is the aspect of ourselves through which we experience the world.
Okay.
So you're not really seeing with the eyes, you're seeing with the mind. That's why even with your eyes closed, in your dreams you see stuff.
Correct.
Right? In the same way, you're not hearing with your ears, you're hearing with the mind.
Correct.
So there are so many different stimuli that are there, but you choose to focus. So maybe the thing that is choosing to focus is your consciousness, and the one that fulfills it is the mind.
I tell you what, I think it's nice because if I just ask you these things. For example, I do the 7 miseries of the mind, make people miserable. And there are 7 agonies of the ego, which are anger, hate, revenge, jealousy, pride, greed, and selfishness. Now, to me, people come, and where have I got these from? I have got these 14 miseries. People have come to me when we have got courses, when we have a Zoom call every day at 8 o'clock. People come from all over the world and ask questions. It's called Ask AiR. And these questions we have picked up from there. Tell me, I'm more curious about when you are teaching people, although your book has got the 5 elements of nutrition, of sleep, do you teach people nutrition and sleep, or primarily you teach them meditation?
We teach them meditation.
So tell me, I'd like to focus on this for the next few minutes. How can meditation, I want to understand, what is this essence of meditation? And if I'm not wrong, you call this Sudarshan Kriya, am I right?
Yeah, Sudarshan Kriya is one of the techniques to meditate.
And is that the primary thing that is?
Yeah.
So can you spend a few minutes? Because I think otherwise I'm taking it on a wrong tangent. I would rather learn from you about meditation, how meditation and how Sudarshan Kriya gives happiness. Then we will try to bring some synergy into the subject.
Okay. So, let's look at it like this. We have different rhythms in nature, right? You have the cycles of day and night, the cycles of the seasons, right? We have different rhythms in our body. There are times when you can focus and concentrate. There are times when you feel sleepy. There are times when you feel hungry, and so on. Now, when the rhythms of the body are in synchronization with the rhythms of nature, there is harmony. Life is easy.
Yes.
Okay? It is when the rhythms of the body are out of sync with the rhythms of nature that all sorts of the agonies and the miseries come in.
Yeah.
Right? The trick would be then to resynchronize the body rhythms with natural rhythms.
Okay.
Now, the connection between the body and the mind is the breath. So the breath has different rhythms which correspond to different emotions. So, for example, if you are angry, you are breathing in a different way compared to when you are relaxed.
Correct.
Right? And typically, you will see that the longer breaths are associated with happiness and relaxation, and the shorter breaths are associated with the negative emotions. Okay? What the Sudarshan Kriya does is, through a particular rhythmic breathing pattern, it basically is helping you reset the emotions that you, the mental junk, garbage, as well as the physical stresses are neutralized, eliminated, sorted out, soothed. I don't like to use those words. Soothed. You bring a sort of a soothing to the body mind system through the breath and reset the rhythms of the body and the mind to the rhythms of nature, thereby creating a sense of harmony, sense of peace, a sense of equanimity, which is basically what is a taste of enlightenment. And as you, like you said, as you do this practice on a regular basis, this becomes more and more your reality. So now when things from outside hit you, they no longer bother you as much as they used to. Until there comes a time when it's hardly a botheration. Like, once someone said that I have been meditating so many years, but I still get angry. The Gurudev said something very interesting. He said, even if you have a very still lake, but someone throws a stone, ripples will come.
Right.
So anger is not a problem. It's how long you stay angry that is the problem. So the anger comes and goes, it's fine. The irritation comes and goes, it's fine. As long as that sense of equanimity, that sense of peace, the sense of happiness is maintained, and then you do your whatever it is you are doing, whether it is your business, your job, you are a stay-at-home mom, you are a student, it doesn't matter. Whatever you are doing, if you are doing out of the sense of happiness, the life becomes an expression of happiness.
Correct.
Rather than a pursuit of happiness. Right?
So you want to add some more to this, or you've told me the sense of
I think this is it.
So since you're a very intelligent IITian, I'm going to pick your mind on this.
Of course.
Right? So tell me, Khurshed, what is exactly happening? Now you and me sit here and we start breathing. And when we are taking these longer breaths, would you agree with me? We are basically slowing down the pace of thoughts and the pace of the mind.
Yes.
You agree? And ultimately, when we breathe slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly, if you have complete stillness, I'm sure you've heard the term samadhi. So so-called, I'm not getting into that right now, but you reach that state of thoughtlessness. Very difficult according to me. I'm sure you will agree with me. It's not easy for people to just sit. In movies, they show somebody sitting and trees growing around them. These mythological things we don't want to get into. But I want to ask you 2-3 things. So when you come out of this breathing, you can't sit from 24 hours a day doing this, right?
Correct.
So when you come out of this breathing, then you face the world. Then you're still having anger, jealousy, like you said, the stuff that was that went down the valley of meditation. Then when you open your eyes and your 5 senses, which were wired to the mind, you spoke about the eyes and the ears. The 5, like Lord Krishna says, the 5 horses are controlled by the lagam, the mind. then they go wild again. And then, so the more frequently you can meditate, how can we be in a state of meditativeness longer? I call the mind, some people, I tell people, in my books, I say, there is no mind. And people say, what do you mean? So whoever I meet, I give them this ball, and I gave you a ball. I tell people, what is the color of this ball? They say it's yellow. I say, what's the shape of this ball? They say it's round. I ask people, what is the color of the mind? What is the shape of the mind? Now you know where I'm getting. We know the shape of the brain. The brain is that fluffy stuff. We know the color of the heart, the pinkish organ. We know the color of the kidneys. We've seen X-rays as an IITian. But nobody has ever seen the mind. You agree with me? Nobody has seen the mind? Because the mind does not exist. As an entity, the mind appears as a bundle of toxic thoughts. In meditation, do you disagree that the mind ceases to exist? The mind as such disappears because those thoughts, so those bundle of thoughts, they disappear. So are we in sync up to now, or is
Okay.
are we okay?
Yeah.
So tell me, when we come out of this meditation, how do we maintain peace? This is my first point, because according to me, where there's the peace of mind, there can be no peace of mind. When you want peace of mind, there should be no mind. Where there's mind, there's no peace. Where there's peace, there's no mind. This is my belief. I want to understand two things from you. First, how do we remain in this state of meditativeness? How does Sudarshan Kriya, all this meditativeness, teach us to be peaceful of mind or without the toxic thoughts longer? And the second question, which I don't want to bombard you now with, the connection of that and happiness, because I have a different logic to that. But first, this one. How do you remain in meditativeness?
So, meditation is something that you do on a regular basis. Like you eat.
Yeah.
You eat food.
You have to keep eating.
You have to eat.
Yeah.
You cannot say, okay, I had breakfast now,
No lunch
forget
and
about
dinner.
it. In the same way, when you meditate on a regular basis, let's say you don't stay hungry anymore for peace, for happiness.
Like you have a meal, you're not hungry for next 6 hours, you're not.
Correct.
So this, how long does meditation effect
So
last?
usually we say twice a day you meditate 15-20 minutes. So typically morning you get your dose of the day, you are fresh and alert and energetic to start the day.
Yeah.
And then when you come back in the evening to enjoy the evening, again you meditate so that the stresses of the day are melted away. And you have a good time in the evening as well. So we say typically twice a day you meditate 15-20 minutes, more than enough both times.
Okay.
Right? Now, when you do this on a regular basis, right, every day, if you are doing this twice a day, more and more you get attuned to that state of meditativeness.
What exactly happens? I hope, and I'm
Yes.
and I completely agree with you. I hope I'm not. I'm with completely in synergy.
Yes.
I'm just trying to get right words, because you're so intelligent. You will help people understand.
Actually, it's nothing happens. It's getting into the nothing with a capital N.
The state of nothingness.
Yeah. Now, there is one fallacy about meditation that a lot of people have, where they feel that meditation means there should be no thoughts. I don't agree with that.
Elaborate. Very good. Please elaborate. Explain this.
So, if you look at, say, the surface of water, there is a lot of waves.
Yeah.
But you dive inside, it is still.
Absolutely.
Right?
Pin drop silence.
In the same way, you could have a lot of thoughts when you begin to meditate, but when you know that aspect of your consciousness, you kind of go there and the thoughts may be there, but they don't bother you anymore. It's like we're sitting here and we have these little pigeons here, and they are flying around. They are there, but they don't bother us.
Because we are not distracted.
We are not distracted by them at all. So I like to put it like this. Say you go to a movie theater, and you watch a movie. It's really interesting. It's fantastic. Lovely story, brilliant acting, everything. You're totally involved in the movie. You care for the hero. You care for the heroine. You hate the villain. You're involved in the movie, right? That is how most people are through their lives, involved in the movie of life. But there is one guy sitting in the projector room who doesn't care. For him, it is just images on the screen.
Yeah.
Right? So if you can get out of the theater of your mind and go into the projector room of your mind, then that is meditation. Because now the same thoughts that are there are no longer having any effect on you. They don't bother you anymore.
So what is the art? If somebody wants, anybody, you and me will agree that anybody who gets into silence and stillness will get some benefit of meditation.
Right.
There is no high-tech master needed to do that. You also agree that. Some guided meditation, for example, if your 5 senses are agile, you can't meditate. Imagine you're eating pav bhaji. You can't be meditating when you're eating pav bhaji.
Correct.
So to me, the 5 senses have to be shut off if you really want to meditate. Whether you sit in a comfortable position, I don't know whether you have to sit with your spine erect, all that. Sit in any comfortable position and still your thoughts.
So that is the thing. You don't still your thoughts, you let the thoughts become still.
Correct. How do you do that?
Do nothing.
Correct. So the idea is to basically switch off. Correct? So when you switch off the fan, basically the fan doesn't switch off like that, right? You agree? Is it a good analogy?
Yeah.
कैसे fan कैसे होता है? ये चलता है, फिर एक धीरे-धीरे करके fan stop. So you are in that state of stillness. And the challenge is, I said there are 2 things I'm asking. So you're saying that stillness itself is very beautiful, and after you eat breakfast, you don't immediately go and ask for paratha for lunch because your stomach is full.
Correct.
So your analogy, I'm appreciating what you're saying. I'm learning from you as well. So the moment you have got your dose, your nutrition value of meditation, now for some time, I'm using the term, you are in awareness, you are in consciousness. You can elaborate later on this, and that will last you for up to such time that the nutrition value of that meditation
has waned.
Now you have to come back. Correct?
Correct. The only thing is that this time becomes longer and longer as you meditate on a more regular basis.
Because it becomes more effective. It becomes...
Yeah. So earlier maybe you would be in that state for half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours. Then it is 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours. And then it's like there is hardly a break.
It becomes seamless.
Yeah.
And it loops in and loops in and loops in. So I'm enjoying this, but I'd like to, we'll continue a little bit more. I don't know where this will go. But tell me, peace is the foundation of happiness. Are we agreeing to that? Is there anything else in meditation other than peace that makes you happy? What is the connection?
So let's put it like this. You don't necessarily need a reason to be happy.
Okay. Yeah.
Of course, you have a pizza with mushrooms on it and spinach and whatever you like, drizzled with olive oil.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right? Enjoy.
But you don't really require that to be happy, right? A lot of people, they have created if-then situations in their life. If beti ki shadi hogi, then I will be happy.
Correct.
If I get a job, then I will be happy. If I get a divorce from my wife, then I will be happy, and so on. If I lose 20 kilos, then I will be happy. There is a lot of if-then that happens. And these are decisions that people themselves have made. It's not like someone has stood with a gun and say, now you...
They're conditioned themselves.
They have... if I ask somebody, what makes you happy? They will say, okay, XYZ makes me happy. It could be anything from mango milkshake to millions of dollars in my bank account.
Correct.
Right? But this decision to be happy based on something is made by them.
Correct.
Right? My invitation always is, and that's what I say on my courses also, is do you really require the if-then? If anyway you are deciding to be happy because something happens, can't you simply decide to be happy full stop?
You can, right?
Right?
Yeah.
So happiness does not need a reason. Unhappiness needs a reason.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Someone is sitting with their muh latka out. You ask kya ho gaya, you will get a story.
Correct.
Right? So for being unhappy, either something has to happen or something has to stop happening.
Correct.
Then people become unhappy. The inference from that for me is that basically happiness is your ground state. You don't need a reason to be happy.
But Khurshed, and we're going to come back here. I hope we don't lose the plot, okay? Because we were trying to connect the meditation to this. But even happiness, like you say, somebody is unhappy, there must be a reason. But tell me, some people are happy because they're eating a pizza. Some people are happy because they're in Maldives. Some people are unhappy because they're in the Maldives because there's nothing to do. So it's not that somebody is very happy smoking a cigarette and somebody is very unhappy smoking a cigarette. You also agree that it's not the object that is creating the happiness. But I think that just like you said, there is a reason for becoming unhappy. People find triggers for happiness.
Correct.
It may be being with your girlfriend that will give you happiness, or maybe it's watching a movie, or maybe...
But the point is, you don't need it.
Correct. I agree with you. But you don't deny that things make us happy.
Yeah.
Of course, we are not saying that should be that should not.
Yeah, absolutely.
But things make us happy.
Yeah.
So back to what you are saying. Because what happened, I'll just quickly cut and then see whether we are meeting on this point. I ask people, how do you spell happy? How do you spell happy?
Happy.
So I've cancelled that. For me, I say happy has 3 P's. It's HAPPY. So if you want to be happy, why I'm saying is because you need pleasure. Do you think that it's good to be a Vairagi and not to enjoy anything in life? Or do you also enjoy some idli or dosa or pizza, or you don't enjoy it?
No, of course I enjoy it.
But you do not crave for it and become unhappy. Correct? So I think the first P of happiness is to enjoy pleasure. We don't need to renounce pleasure, but we should not run after pleasure. Second P of happiness is peace. Because what you're saying, meditation, this is what I want to dwell there. But the third P of happiness, when we talk of enlightenment, is purpose. When you get the purpose of life, then to me, you reach that state of Sat-Chit-Ananda. You reach that state of eternal happiness. But I'm not here today to tell you what I'm about. I'm more here to listen from you. So you said, beautifully said, and I'm handling back to you with 2-3 points. One, you said, you don't need to have a reason to be happy. So I tell people, when you wake up in the morning, don't say, I want to be happy. You just say, I choose to be happy. Because when you choose to be happy, don't you agree? I choose to be happy, that's it. But what happens when the MK50 kills you? You heard of MK50? The AK-47 is what the terrorists use. The MK50 is the mind killer 50. When you wake up in the morning, it starts shooting. And you'll say, meditate. My solution is very simple. Fear, worry, stress, anxiety, regret, shame, guilt. Ye kal hua, ye kal hone wala hai. This is a problem. So, a master like you in meditation will say, guys, I have learnt it. I'm doing it. You do it. And you will find it. And I'm endorsing what you say. So when you meditate, you basically, this MK50, this can be 50,000 thoughts a day. No, I'm talking mathematics because you're an IIT in mathematics. I'm not. So 50,000 thoughts a day, which is 50 thoughts a minute, if we still it and still it and still it and still it, to me, I don't know what you call it. I call it, you move from a state of mind to a state of consciousness. Please do tell me what you call it, whether it's okay or not. Okay, so when you move from mind to consciousness, then you become the man in the projector room. Because then you are in a state of mindfulness, awareness, consciousness, whatever, the names may be different. And you become the observer and things are happening, but it doesn't affect you. So now after giving this background, tell me, so you suggest that it becomes longer and longer and longer, and therefore 2 things which we stopped at. You said you don't need a reason to be happy. You can just be happy. And when you are in this meditativeness, then there is happiness. Now, I gave you this background to connect this to whatever you want to say. So please connect, and please, it may not have any connection. It may be going in another direction. Plus, please elaborate where you were.
No, so my point was that only, ki you do not, like you said, you choose happiness.
Correct.
Right? You need to choose it again and again.
Correct.
And many times, you don't choose it simply because you are unaware. You know, like when people are complaining, they are not aware. There is no consciousness there. It is just babble, right? The moment you become aware, you stop complaining. The moment the awareness actually dawns, happiness is inevitable because that is who you are. You are made of that, right? Now, to be in the world, yes, you get your job, you get your millions of dollars, you get whatever, all that. But don't, like you said, don't enjoy the pleasure, but don't chase it.
Yeah.
There's a very interesting study that was done, I think, in Harvard or Yale, one of those universities, where they took a group of monks who had been meditating 20, 30 years and they wired them up. The first thing that they saw was there was a physical change in their brain structures. So there are certain, say the amygdala, which is the stress and fear center, is actually smaller in meditators than in non-meditators. Many changes. So let me tell you about that a little bit. So then they saw, okay, so there are these physical changes in the brain. So then they wondered, how long would it take for a normal person who has not been meditating to see these changes?
Okay.
So then they took a group of non-meditate people that never meditated in their lives, and they made them meditate for a few days and kept doing the scans. And they saw that within 30 to 40 days, their brain started showing significant changes in the physical structure. So meditation is not something that is kind of a airy-fairy thing. It is something that actually physically affects our brain. The other experiment that they did, which was very interesting, was, so these monks for some reason liked oranges a lot. So while the monks was wired up, they gave them oranges to eat. And all the pleasure centers of the brain lit up. Right? So they were clearly enjoying oranges.
Yeah.
But when the orange was over, the craving centers of the brain did not light up.
Did not light up.
They did not light up for the monks. They did light up for the non-meditators. So a thing that happens with people who are not meditating is when they are going through a great experience, they enjoy it, but then they crave for it and become miserable. Right? So this is where the meditation comes in. When you are meditating on a regular basis, you totally enjoy life. You do whatever it is you want to do in your life. Right? But you can be in that state of pleasure and then not crave for it later, which allows you to actually maintain your state of happiness.
But what is that key? If somebody asks us, we are talking, somebody is watching us, whether you are telling us that by meditation, I can enjoy mangoes, but suddenly I'll stop craving. कैसे होता है?
हाँ, ये होता है.
Okay, so there's nothing that you can say.
It is जैसे तुम जिम में जाते हो, वेट्स उठाते हो, तो बाइसेप कैसे बड़ा हो जाता है? हो जाता है.
Okay, so tell me, is there anything else that you would like to say about how can people live a really happy life? I talk of eternal happiness. So people who are in meditation and they're all happy. I would say they are peaceful people. I mean, I don't know if you agree or not. But what do you think about the third P? Would you like to talk on purpose of life? Would that help in achieving happiness?
See, for most people, purpose in their life kind of changes through their life.
Okay.
I'm talking about Aam Aadmi. Say when you are 5, 6, 7 years old, then your purpose is your teddy bear, your parents. You grow a little older, your purpose is to be with your friends. Then your purpose is to study, get great grades. Then your purpose is to get a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever. Then it is to get married. Then it is to have children. Then it is to have a job, advanced degrees. So purpose of what I should be doing now continuously changes. But if you look at the underlying thing of it, why do you want the good job? Why do you want to get married? Why do you want to have kids? It is basically, I want to be happy.
Ultimately, everybody wants to be happy.
Right? So, for me, the purpose of life is, I want to be happy.
But we become unhappy.
That's when we get thrown from our center. That is why we come back to meditation. That is the thing that does not allow you to get thrown off your center so easily. Yes, you get thrown. I'm not saying that, okay, after 30 years of meditation, I never become unhappy. No, I do.
Yeah.
But that time that I remain unhappy is
shorter,
very short.
and the frequency.
And the frequencies.
Would it be too personal if I asked you when were you last unhappy?
When my mom died.
When was that?
About 7-8 years ago.
That was really unhappy.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about today, yesterday, something that make you...
Power went.
When? Today or yesterday?
Just a few days ago, I was doing a Zoom session. I had like 50 people off there. Back, power gone. Obviously, it irritates you, right? So, yeah, but you know, these are things that will, like earlier, if something like this happened, I would raise hell. I would say, why did this happen? How could this have happened? Haven't I told you guys have everything ready? You know, you should have had a blah, I would have done all that. Now I say, theek hai, ho gaya. How can we salvage it? Let's look at that. And so just had to go to a friend's house and, you know, apologize, laugh about it. That look, I live in rural Bangalore. These things happen. I'm sorry. Can we just move ahead? And everything is sorted. You know?
Yeah.
So I am not saying that I don't become unhappy. I don't get irritated. Yes, I do.
Okay.
But it is no longer held in my head for a long period of time. It is, you know, even if I get angry, it is over there.
So if I tell you there is a way to eternal happiness where you will never get unhappy, would you accept or you say it's rubbish?
No. I would see. I have been in this business for such a long time that I don't say anything is rubbish. I'm sure this is there, and I'm sure it will happen sooner or later.
Tell me, I'm going to come back to you. I'm just taking some flavor to this discussion. So tell me, can we tell people that they can eliminate the mind and eliminate fear, worry, stress, anxiety, regret, shame, guilt, these toxic thoughts? We both are in the business of helping people live a better life. You agree? Yahi hamara kaam, aur koi hamara kaam dhanda nahi hai hamara.
Correct.
I have dedicated my life to this. I write a book a month. I write songs. And my subject is only one: eternal happiness through enlightenment. So I'm trying to build some synergy. They say in life, if you want to go to Bombay from Pune, you can go walking, you can take a car, you can take a bus, you can take a plane, you can take a helicopter. So you and me maybe we're having different paths. Right. But we're all, like you said, I tell people, the Chinese love noodles, South Indians love dosa, North Indians love paratha, Italians love pizza, and Americans like burgers. But all of them like it because that makes them happy. This is what you said. Ultimately, it's not the noodles that's making you happy or the pasta that's making you happy. It is what you like and you get it and you become happy. Just like if you don't get what you want or you like, you become unhappy. So, if a person is getting angry, getting jealous, hate, revenge, this is stemming from the ego. When I can get angry at you, you must have seen, I'm sure, don't tell me you haven't seen somebody beating somebody or kicking somebody. But the tongue, when it gets bit by the teeth, it doesn't hit the teeth. There is no reaction. Because as I know the tongue and the teeth are not two. We are one. So the right hand will never hit the left hand, or the one leg will never kick the leg. So in Sudarshan Kriya or in your meditation practice, like I'm talking about, I'm building a parallel, right? You get what I'm saying? So in our happiness, if you want to be happy, still the mind and take out the miseries. Then enlighten the ego and stop this anger business, hate business. If you are able to take out this, then most of life's misery and agony is gone. I'm talking about getting to that purpose. You must have heard of this, that we say, who am I? And in reality, I am not this body. You said it, we are the immortal soul. So these are the elements of happiness in my books, which I don't want to elaborate. But I'm asking you, what else can we learn from your happiness or Sudarshan Kriya? Can you please tell us more of the meditation and happiness or the Sudarshan Kriya and happiness?
So, like I said before, when you are doing these practices on a regular basis, your ability to be happy for longer and longer periods of time, not having those 14 miseries affect you, becomes more and more pronounced.
It happens on its own, you are saying.
It's an automatic thing. Of course, you need a bit of awareness. You know, like normally, when people get angry, they have the regret after they have finished their anger, right?
अरे हाँ ये हो गया हाँ.
हो गया. अरे यार नहीं होना चाहिए.
हाँ.
No, इतना क्यों चिल्लाया? Whatever.
Okay.
Once you are a regular meditator, many times to begin with, the regret will happen while the anger is going on. Again, you lost it. And you kind of hold back and you don't explode as much.
Okay.
Okay? And then after more practice, it stops you before. You know, so for me, for example, I used to keep a challenge for myself that I'll get angry 5 times a year. Now I'm a Parsi. So, you know, like they say, how do you make a Parsi angry? So just put a mirror in front of him. So I would say, okay, 5 times a year, I'm going to get angry. Okay, not more than that. So when something would happen which would bother me, I would really hold it. Do I really lose this card now or shall I use it later?
Okay.
You know, it was a game that I played with myself. So there was that awareness, there was that sense of holding back a little bit, because is it worth?
How did you build that awareness? As part of the meditative process?
As part of the meditation process, the awareness came.
Okay.
The realization came that I'm spending so much of my energy. Is it really getting anything done? You know, so I would reserve my anger for something that is really relevant. Where
कैसे गुस्सा तो हो जाता है ना?
नहीं, यही बात होती है. गुस्सा हो जाता है, ध्यान रेगुलरली करते हो, फिर तुम गुस्सा कर सकते हो. Instead of letting the anger happen, you can make the anger happen.
So you don't lose your temper, you use your temper.
Exactly. Right?
But how is meditation connected to that?
That awareness, that sense of shanti that is there, you know, allows you to have this awareness to evaluate. Do you really need to lose it here?
I'm still not getting your method of this meditation to awareness.
Meditation brings awareness.
But it is, and so basically, or you'd have to agree with me, what I'm saying, that meditation slows the mind, pace of the mind, slowly, and you reach that state of consciousness, which is awareness. Is there something else you want to add, or it is this?
This is fine.
It is this.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, you know, one sec. Since we are talking, there's one more thing I want to mention.
I'm please feel free to say anything that you want to say. Yeah.
So we say there are 4 states of consciousness.
Correct.
Right. One is awake, which we are right now.
Yeah.
The second is opposite of that, sleep. The third is dream, and the fourth is meditative.
So Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, and Chaturya.
Right.
Correct. This is what same thing, right?
Now, in the awake state, there is awareness. You know what's happening around you, but there is no rest.
Correct. Till you sleep. Correct.
In sleep, there is rest, but there is no awareness.
Correct.
Right. You have no idea where you went when you first.
In deep sleep.
Sleep, deep sleep. Yeah, you
and
can say
in
that.
Dream state, we also
in dream state, there is neither rest nor awareness many times.
Correct, because your body is resting, but your mind is
correct
all the time.
So the meditative state is the 4th state where there is rest and awareness, both together.
Correct.
Now, everybody is born with the ability to be awake, sleep, and dream.
Correct.
The 4th state of consciousness, which is as natural as being awake, sleeping, and dreaming, needs to be learnt and practiced.
Oh, now you're saying, so your Sudarshan Kriya is to teach Chaturya.
Correct.
You call it Chaturya or you call it something else?
We don't call it anything.
Call the 4th state. You call it the 4th state.
Yeah, we can call it that.
Okay, very good. So at least we've reached here.
Yeah.
So tell me, beautiful. At least, I mean, there will be some productivity from where we. So if you had to give somebody a crash course of going from, okay, so you don't have to give somebody a crash course from being awake to sleeping. अपने आप होता है.
Correct.
तुम एक दिन काम करेगा, अपने आप रात को सो जाएगा. ठीक है? And you also agree that we don't control dreams. Dreams happen.
Correct.
We may have some jugaad in trying, but waking, dreaming, and deep sleep also is a grace. It happens. But you learn the art of the 4th condition. How do you teach people the art of reaching that awareness?
That's where we have the the formal training, the course where we teach the Sudarshan Kriya, where we teach.
Can you give a snapshot, some crash course? No, I'm not saying to give the whole thing.
Yeah.
But can you share the secret? Because you're a master. So in Sudarshan Kriya, what is the chutki of reaching that fourth state?
No, there is no chutki. It is a process that you do
Of meditation.
of the Sudarshan Kriya, which gets you into that. It's like a so if you want to have mango milkshake, you need to get the milk, you need to get the mangoes, you need to put it together, whirl it together, put it in a glass, have it. Right? So in the same way, to meditate, you do these steps and you are in meditation.
And are there many steps for people to follow? We can't tell them in 1 or 2 minutes.
You breathe.
Yeah. So it is, to help people, to help this podcast make people, maybe they'll come to you for Sudarshan Kriya. So in very short, what would you tell them? Step 1, 2, 3. Just
that's
introduction
it.
to it.
The Sudarshan Kriya is basically a rhythmic breathing technique.
Correct.
Right? That's it.
Nothing complicated.
There is nothing complicated.
Learn to breathe
with awareness in that particular rhythm that Gurudev has prescribed. It's a fairly long process. It takes about half an hour, 40 minutes.
What do you call these breathing techniques? There's some names, right?
Sudarshan Kriya.
No, but in the Sudarshan Kriya, there are different types of breathing, no?
There are different rhythms. That is Bastrika. That is a preparation for the Kriya.
Okay. So the Sudarshan Kriya doesn't have types of breathing.
No,
it is one Sudarshan Kriya in which you do all this.
Right.
And then what you're telling me is, if you do Sudarshan Kriya, it's like you're getting into an airplane and you're putting on your seat belt and you're just sitting quietly. And when the plane takes off, automatically you will reach 30,000 square feet above sea level and you will be in Ananda.
Correct.
I mean, is my analogy okay?
Right.
Tell us more, something more before we end on either meditation, Sudarshan Kriya or happiness. Otherwise, I will question you a few more things about my elements of happiness. Go ahead.
No, so for me, I have been meditating now more than 30 years. But I have realized also that it is important to take care of the body. It's important to exercise. It's important to have good food. Because all these things add up to that sum total of being happy.
Let's take this discussion to a next level. Okay, you've covered what you want to say. To me, I was making money for 25 years. One peak to another peak. I don't know how much you know Bangalore. I was in Bangalore. I built a big business. I was one of the only guys who had a 6-door limousine. So, if you're one of the only guys, you know how the feeling is, right? You can just imagine that. I made money, a lot of money, but I took an exit from the highway of achievement because achievement gives you pleasure. It's a completely different thing, but I'm sure we'll come back to and we'll build synergy. I took the journey of fulfillment. I wanted to have contentment and found peace. So there was peace of mind. Because when you're greedy, then you're not happy. Right? Then my guru, Dada G.P. Vaswani, he never taught water. He just pushed me on a talash. He doesn't tell everybody to go on a talash. One out of thousands of people, he told me, go on a talash. Kya talash? I don't know. Just go talash. I put down 9 questions. And I'm telling you this because if you have something to say and synergize, I asked questions on, what is this life about? Where did I come from? Why was I born? What is death? Where will I go? Then what is the soul? If I am, what is karma? Is the law of karma? Because karma and happiness has a big connection. What is enlightenment? Is there life after death? What is the purpose of life? Who is God? Where is God? What is God? Is there some heaven and hell like people tell? I put these 9 questions down and I just went. I took the scriptures, I took all authors, and I started getting answers to each question. Why I'm asking that to you is because that led me to eternal happiness. What led me to eternal happiness? This body gets pain, but I'm not the body. If I try to find the mind, there's no mind. Why? What is fear? Fear is a false expectation appearing real. What is worry? Worry is just, I say WORRY, waste of life, overthinking, repeating the problem, rehearsing the fear, and yearning. Ye chahiye, ye chahiye. So I discovered, ultimately, like you said, that we are the immortal soul. The soul, to me, the new song I wrote, it's called Mantra Jeene Ka Shanti Anand Pyar. So if you have the Sutra Jeene Ka, all somebody needs in this world is peace, love, and bliss. So I don't know whether you want to add something. I'm just leaving it open for your comments. So I discovered this way to eternal happiness by the ego being enlightened that I'm not the body and there is no mind. Therefore, who am I? If I am not, like Ramana Maharishi said, Nani Yar. I don't know if you heard of Ramana Maharishi. So therefore, we are all immortal souls. We all come from like a wave. We all come from the ocean and we go back to the ocean. So this led me to that state of Sat-Chit-Ananda, that state of eternal happiness, living in that. So I am always in meditation. Of course, I think it's too beautiful to switch off and to meditate. So I do guided meditations on Insta, on YouTube, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, even 1 hour. I've done that because people demand from me. People said, give us your guided meditation. But I'm completely in sync with you that if we can, we still slow down the MTR, the mental thought rate. To me, this meditation, Khurshed, this leads to introspection, leads to contemplation, leads to illumination, leads to realization from my personal experience. So I enjoy meditation, but for me, like you said, I'm with these squirrels playing and these birds, when I'm just watching them, I'm doing nothing. I'm in awareness. Are you relating to what I'm saying? I don't need to do these things to reach that state. I'm already in that fourth state of consciousness because I've, like you said, ho jata hai. You've reached that. So tell me, what do you think about this eternal happiness? Because you've been in this business for 20, 30 years. You're an advanced master in teaching so many people. And together, what are we trying to do in our sincerity? We are trying to share with people something valuable. I hope you're with me.
Yeah.
So, boliye, tell me what you have to comment on all this stuff.
No, that's great.
You don't have any doubts on what I'm saying?
No, why should I?
And have you experienced any of these things, or you
Yes.
are what part of it you relate to more?
No, all of it.
All of it. So then, do you all teach people enlightenment, or it happens on its own?
It happens on its own.
You don't guide people on the way to enlightenment so much as such. But meditation is the base, right?
So, meditation is the base. I think one of Gurudev's stories is very cute over here. When someone asked him, Gurudev, what does it feel to be enlightened? He said, it's like climbing a tree and going on the branch and then jumping onto the roof and then opening the window of the house and then jumping into the house only to find the front door was open. So
actually, they are all free.
Yeah.
Actually, we are all liberated, but we have created our own entanglements, right? No, beautiful. Anything you would like to tell viewers on this subject? Because I completely agree with you. I liked what you said, happiness express. Because I tell people, it's like that old cat told that little kitten that happiness is in your tail. Because the kitten was troubling the old. So it kept running round and round trying to catch its own tail. People are trying to chase happiness. People are trying to become happy. People don't know the meaning. Love. Something as beautiful as love. I don't know if you have anything to say about this. People's hearts are broken. Because people think love means that you should love me. The moment it's you should love me, you're always going to be unhappy. But imagine if it is I am going to love you. If I am going to love you, I don't care whether you love me or not. Because love is in the emotion of loving. I mean, do you agree? Would like to add something on this?
There is a lovely quote of Gurudev where he says, love is not an emotion, it is your very existence.
Yeah. Very true. Peace, love and bliss is what they say, right?
Sat-Chit-Ananda.
This is what you are. So I was wondering whether you are in this course, you also are adding any of this thing, but meditation is your main thing.
Yes, we teach people how to meditate and then let them have realizations of this by themselves.
On their own.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Any closing comments before we?
I would like to, in the art of living, we say Jai Gurudev to each other.
Yeah.
In fact, you met me saying Jai Gurudev, right? And there is a, so many times it is used in all, it's the inflection, So, किसी का कुछ बहुत अच्छा हो जाता है, उसका जय गुरुदेव हो गया, and किसी का कुछ बुरा आ रहा है, बेचारे का जय गुरुदेव हो गया.
Okay.
So it's like used like that, but the meaning behind it is really beautiful. Guru means one who is unknowable, unfathomable, mysterious, wise. Dev is one who is mischievous, innocent, fun-loving. And there are many people who are very wise and mysterious and lot of depth, but they are boring. And then there are many people who are happy and funny and mischievous, but they have no depth.
Okay.
But when these two go together, so the great beauty dawns. So the wisdom with mischief and the depth with innocence. So that is the beauty of Gurudev. And we say Jai Gurudev, meaning let that Gurudev that is sitting inside you, unki jai ho, unka victory ho. So I guess maybe the last thing I would like to say is Jai Gurudev.
No, Jai Gurudev is beautiful, but is it? But you don't say this only to your Gurudev. You tell everybody.
Yes.
But because when you say that, the truth is that the temple of God is within you.
Absolutely.
We are searching God up in the sky, but that's a lie, right? I don't know whether you agree or not. And I'm very happy speaking to you on this podcast, and what I want to tell people that meditation should become an addiction.
Absolutely.
Because if meditation becomes an addiction, like I said at the beginning, there can be no greater benediction.
Absolutely.
And what you say, and I'm just going to give this podcast some conclusion, that when there is a habit of meditation, then you automatically reach that state of consciousness. And in that state of consciousness, there will be introspection, there will be contemplation, there will be illumination. And ultimately, the goal of life is realization. That who are we, why are we here? Of course, I have made happiness a little elaborate. I tell people that there's a secret. For us, just before you go, I'll bombard this off to you. I tell people the AiR happiness secret has 19 letters. AiR. So you're always in consciousness. Intelligence over ignorance, and rejoice life. So celebrate life. If you don't agree, I want to know something that you don't agree. Then I tell people, have enthusiasm. Believe in that power. A is accept. Because this world, you have to accept. Everything is karmic. What goes around comes around. What you give is what you get. P. Pleasure, peace, and purpose. I, live in the now. N, shift from negative to positive. E, ecstasy of love. S, surrender, and S, Sat-Chit-Ananda. And the secret is smile all the while. So whoever I meet, smile all the while. E, eliminate the mind. C, choose to be happy. R, respond, don't react. E, enlighten the ego. And transcend bhoga, live in yoga. So I tell people, see, because people want to be happy. And I love the fact that so many people follow you. I like it because they just humbly follow you and they meditate. And there can be no doubt that meditation is great. But I think that I wish you, after this conversation, I hope that, I think we must tell people to go beyond meditation. I don't know if you'll agree with me or not, because it's not the selfishness of just enjoying the peace. I think people should go to purpose. So Khurshed, you're a brilliant IITian. I don't know, I'm just with all humility and all, I'm saying, let people take meditation and move on further. Because if there is the realization of who am I.
That's what happens.
But I'm saying that you don't do it formally.
No, we don't do it.
So I mean,
वो भी होता है actually. We
there's no course now, you said. There's no
on the course we talk about this, but we prefer to kind of tickle the consciousness and leave it and let people discover it.
So for idea, when you continue meditation, one of my favorite quotes, I started with nothing. I achieved something. I became everything, only to realize I am nothing. The fact is, Khurshed, we all come from that one cell called the zygote. And ultimately, we return to dust. Nobody can deny this. So, you're a mathematician, so they teach ek or ek do. Some people tell you ek or ek 11. You must have heard this. But in enlightenment, 1 plus 1 becomes 0.
Zero, shunya.
So, and the shunyata, not the Buddhist shunyata where he doesn't give clarity. He said he's an apodipo bhava. But I think you're meeting millions of people with all humility. I think because it's a great way for people to go take that, because meditation is a beautiful state where the contemplation for that realization. Thank you so much. Appreciate you spending
Thank you
the time.
for having me.
It was lovely having you here, and I learned so much from you on your meditation and Sudarshan Kriya.
Thank you.
Thank you for patiently listening to the video. And if you have questions, if you want to contact me, just WhatsApp me on 98451 55555. WhatsApp India 919845155555. But if you want to get answers to your questions, then come on Zoom, and the Zoom ID is on your screen. Every day at 8, you will find answers to all the difficult questions of life. See you there.